Mr. Ruto should resign with immediate effect for violating his oath of office to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya. Over the past 3 days, Maverick Aoko and Boniface Mwangi have been kidnapped from their houses. Public mortuaries in Thika and Nairobi are requesting court orders to dispose 201 unclaimed dead bodies that the police have dropped off in the past year. How far have you gone up today? Oh, fellow Kenyans. For fellow Kenyans, the significant increase in arbitrary arrests, enforced disappearances, torture, and extrajudicial killings should be deeply of concern not only to law-abiding Kenyans, but also the international community and our development partners. If it was not clear before, the release of the investigative report, the lifting of the fog, or lawyers say lifting the veil, reviews the Kenya Police Service motto of utumishi kwa wote, quote unquote, or service to all, quote unquote, has been substituted by utumishi kwa Kenya Kwanza, quote unquote. Since June, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and the Police Reforms Working Group have reported 23 murders, 34 forcibly vanished individuals, and 164 arrests, including those of Bob Njagi, Aslam Longton, and Jamil Longton, who were kidnapped in Kitengela and released after 1 month. Denzel Omondi, a JKU art student, who was among the demonstrators who stormed the parliament on June 25th, was abducted 2 days later. 9 days later, his tortured body was discovered floating in a Juja quarry. John Juguna Kuria, a civic educationist based in West Pokot, was reported missing for 12 days before his mangled body was discovered discarded. Over the past 3 days, Maverick Aoko and Boniface Mwangi have been kidnapped from their houses. After being freed, Mwangi was accused of inciting others. It's still not clear where Ms. Aoko is. The most alarming is that public mortuaries in Thika and Nairobi are requesting court orders to dispose 201 unclaimed dead bodies that the police have dropped off in the past year. Joining the growing international condemnation, the Independent Medical Legal Unit, IMLU, and the World Organization Against Torture, OMCT, have denounced this regime for gross human rights violations that amount to apparent breaches of international humanitarian treaties that Kenya has ratified, especially the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the Conventions Against Torture and Enforced Disappearances. As the opposition, we demand that the security services from the National Intelligence Service, NIS, under the leadership of Nordin, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and the DCI, led by Mohammed Amin, the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, ATPU, under the leadership of Said Kiprotich, the Serious Crimes Unit, led by Michael Sang, Joseph Boynet, the Deputy National Security Advisor, State House, and the Crime Research Intelligence Unit, CRIB, led by John Onyango, ought to be held accountable for their violations of Kenyans' rights and made criminally responsible. Because at the end of the day, all public officers holding the positions I've mentioned are not above the Constitution. Furthermore, their immediate superiors, the Inspector General of the Kenya Police and the Minister for Interior and National Administration, should be held accountable for overseeing a service that has gone rogue, with a focus on serving the interests of a few political elite at the expense of Kenyan security. However, it is our contention that the President of the Republic of Kenya carries the biggest responsibility for police phone spying, state-sponsored abductions, hijackings, and extrajudicial killings. Despite overwhelming evidence, including that of the Deputy President, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, during the impeachment trial, Mr. Ruto continues to claim that he is not aware of any such incidents. Ruto further says that these abductions, extrajudicial killings, are fake news and propaganda that is hurting our nation. We want to make it clear to Mr. Ruto that it is actually his ill-thought-out efforts to revert Kenya to a police state that are hurting our nation and our nation's image, locally and abroad. The buck stops with him. Mr. Ruto should resign with immediate effect for violating his oath of office to be faithful and bear true allegiance to the public, to the Republic of Kenya, and that he would obey, preserve, and protect this Constitution of Kenya. That was the oath of office. Lastly, we take this moment to pay tribute to the brave Nation Media group journalists for releasing their investigations in a time of such great danger for practitioners. Regardless of media outlet, you have been brutally attacked by security agents. We understand your equipments have been illegally confiscated. We know that a fair number of you have been taken to court and gag orders issued stopping you from publishing on certain topics, organizations, or personalities. Nonetheless, you steadfastly adhere to the Kenyan Code of Conduct for the practice of journalism. By doing so, you have demonstrated that the fundamental yearning for democratic liberties, including access to honest and fact-based news, will never be destroyed, even by the most brutal dictatorship. Thank you very much, and may God bless our country, Kenya. I just need to probably highlight here, just as a living example of what is happening in the country with regard to disenfranchising Kenyans, the people of Banisa in the northeast